Shalom, my friends. It's the Kiva from Israel in 5, and I want to wish you a happy Hanukkah and a happy holiday season from here in Israel. In the Jewish tradition, like in other traditions, the holiday season is a very important time to think about others more than we think about ourselves, to give to others more than we give to ourselves. And with this in mind, I want to give you a very special opportunity to help out literally millions of Israelis in need right now. All year round, but especially during the Hanukkah season. We're talking about Holocaust survivors. We're talking about IDF soldiers fighting on the front lines of this ongoing war. We're talking about families living beneath the poverty line here in Israel, including over 1 million children. We're talking about displaced families and communities who have been out of their homes since October 7th, 2023, because of security issues where they lived. And with your donation, your tax deductible donation at israel5.org/donate, you can make such a big difference by clicking on the link below or going to israel5.org/donate. You can make a donation, a tax deductible donation. Your donation will go directly towards helping Mayor Panim help these people in need all over Israel. Again, we're talking about IDF soldiers who've been fighting on the front lines since October 7th, 2023. We're talking about displaced families. We're talking about Holocaust survivors, right, who went through the worst of the worst in their lives, and now towards the end of their life, they can't make ends meet. We're talking about millions living underneath the poverty level here in Israel who don't know where their next meal will come from. Kids who will come home from school. If it wasn't for Mayor Panim, kids who will come home from school without anything to eat. And your donation will help all of these people with meals delivered to their doors for those who need it. The centers, Mayor Panim centers all over Israel, that serve hot, warm, delicious, nutritious meals every single day to all those in need, right? Not only giving them food, but also giving them a smile and a hello, possibly their own only conversation of the entire day, right? During Hanukkah, there will be celebrations for families in need. There will be special gifts given to IDF soldiers and to Holocaust survivors. There'll be incredible things happening all over Israel for these people in need, but only through your donation. So again, I give you this great opportunity during this very special time of the year, this holiday season, to reach out and to open up your heart and to give what you can give, to allow Mayor Panim to continue to do this incredible and important life-saving work that they're doing for all of these different populations in need in Israel. Again, you can click on the link below or go to israel5.org/donate. Again, wishing you a happy Hanukkah and a happy holiday season from here in Israel. All the best and be well. The words Palestinian and Palestine are used very frequently these days by lots of different people all over the world. But exactly where did these words come from? Where did the word Palestine actually come from? Let's find out. Shalom, my friends. This is Akiva Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. To understand the roots of the word Palestine, we need to go back almost 2,000 years ago to when the Romans ruled the land of Israel. As we know, many different empires came through the land of Israel over the centuries, over thousands of years. Shortly after the Jewish people first came into the land of Israel, over 3,000 years ago. Right? You had the Assyrians, you had the Babylonians, you had the Persians, you had the Greeks, and then you had the Romans. In the first century BCE, the Romans first came into the land of Israel and took over control and controlled the land, even while Jews lived in the land for hundreds and hundreds of years. At various times, there were different revolts against the Romans, the Jews attempting to free their land and free themselves from the foreign Roman rule. Sometimes that worked and sometimes that didn't. There was the Great Revolt from 66 to 70 CE, which unfortunately failed in the end and led to the destruction of Jerusalem, the destruction of the temple there, and the exile of the Jewish people. A few decades after that, there was the Bar Kokhba Revolt, which was another attempt of the Jews to fight off and to cause to flee the Roman Empire in the land of Israel. That unfortunately also led to a defeat on the part of the Jews. That was from 132 to 135 CE. And after that revolt failed, the Bar Kokhba Revolt, the Roman leader at the time, Hadrian, passed a long list of laws, basically making Jewish practice illegal. Right? All kinds of different essential foundational Jewish customs and laws and practices were made completely illegal in the land of Israel under Roman rule. And in addition to that, Hadrian changed the name of the land of Israel. At the time, it was called Judea, named after the tribe of Judah that lived in that certain area where most Jews living in the land of Israel, living in the land of Israel at the time, were living. Right? Judea, Samaria, these are names that most people who are familiar with the Hebrew Bible have come across. So they changed the name of the land of Israel, or the land of Judea, I should say more specifically, to Palestine. Right? Why did they choose Palestine? It was actually Syria Palestina. Right? Why did they change the name? Because they wanted to erase the Jewish connection to the land of Israel, just like many of Israel's enemies are trying to do today. You change the name, you change the connection. You change the name, you change the history. You take away the name, you take away the history. Right, so the Romans changed the name of the land of Israel or the name of Judea to essentially Palestine. Where do they get Palestine from? Well, Palestine sounds like Philistine, and the Philistines were an ancient enemy of the Jewish people, as we see throughout the Hebrew Bible. So the Romans chose that name, changed it a little bit, Romanized it, and they came out with Palestina, or as we know today, Palestine. Right? At the same time, they also changed the name of Jerusalem for the same reason, by trying to disconnect the Jewish people from their most important and holy site and capital, right? Jerusalem. They changed it to a name that reflected both the Roman leader Hadrian and Roman idol worship, essentially. And so here we see almost 2,000 years ago, this name comes into existence. As history moves on, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years go by, that name kind of falls out of use and comes back strong after World War I with the mandate system that was put into place in the Middle East in the former Ottoman Empire by the League of Nations after World War I. And the different mandates that were created and given to the English and the French to oversee the creation of new countries that never existed before. Well, new countries that didn't exist before, except for Israel, as we know, it's been there for thousands of years. The name Palestine was given to the mandate given to the British over the land of Israel. Right? They looked, I guess, over the history books on some ancient maps and saw that this was a name that was used because of the Romans. Right. So the Romans, at some level, succeeded in really convincing people that there is no historical connection between the Jewish people and the land of Israel. But we know, and especially those who know the Hebrew Bible, that there is a very deep connection. And even if you change the name, it doesn't change the history and it doesn't change the connection. One last very interesting point is that under the British mandate, right, given to them by the League of Nations to oversee the creation of which country? The Jewish national home, as is written in the official document, right, that lists the different obligations and the details of the British mandate, the obligations of the British to oversee this Jewish national home, which would be of course, a reconstitution, a recreation of an ancient Jewish national home in the land of Israel. You see that the mandate was called Palestine. So anyone living in it was called Palestinian, including the Jews, including the Jews. So there were Arab Palestinians and there were Jewish Palestinians. Very, very interesting. Everyone went by that name. The passports that were issued by the British at the time were Palestinian passports given both to the Jews and to the Arabs, right? And to anyone else living in the land. There wasn't one kind of identity only for the Arab people. In fact, interestingly enough, there were many, many Arabs, including many, many Arab leaders at the time that who didn't want to be known as Palestinian because Jews were being referred to as Palestinians as well. Very interesting historical point. So there you go, my friends. That's the historical roots of the name Palestine, the name Palestinian. And once we learn the history, we can understand current events a lot better. All the best, my friends, and be well.